All right, welcome back. This is Mrs. Stannard. Haven't done this for a while, so hopefully I won't fumble through it too poorly. Take a look. We are looking at the topic of writing equations in point-slope form, ladies and gentlemen. The point-slope form is actually derived from the slope formula. You will notice that the y minus y sub 1 is the numerator of the slope, and then the denominator as x minus x sub 1. So you want to write this generic point slope formula onto your note sheet where x sub 1 and y sub 1 is any point that has been given to you. The regular x and y that's in that equation, we're going to leave generic because it could be any other point, but we only need one point for this particular equation. And obviously we need the slope. So if you take the slope formula and you actually get rid of the denominator of the original formula, which was your x minus x sub 1, you actually could have the equation in a derived format as what you're seeing on the board right now. So your first four examples are the same scenario. You're going to rewrite this so that your equation is in point slope form, and they're giving you the slope and they're giving you a random point on this line or any line. And so when we actually write an equation in that format, it is simply plug and chug. So here we go. Y minus y sub 1, and our y sub 1 value happens to be the number 2. We are going to set it equal to the slope of -6 times the quantity, the generic x, minus your x coordinate of 9. And believe it or not, you are done. That is the point slope form for the equation where it goes through the point 9, 2 with a slope of -6. So hopefully you find the other three just as easy. We have, of course, thrown in some negative values to make sure that you are doing the arithmetic correctly and your signs are done correctly as well. So let's take a look at the second example to the right. Y minus a -5. Set it equal to the slope of 1/8 times the quantity, x minus 10. Now we can't leave it in this format because you know that a y minus a -5 should always be simplified to a keep change format of y plus 5. And this would be the acceptable final answer. Y plus 5 is equal to 1/8 times the quantity of x minus 10. Third scenario, ordered pair of -6, 8. Your slope at 3. So that means we're going to have y minus 8. And then the slope of 3 times the quantity, x minus a -6. Again, same scenario. We can't have this minus negative. You're going to change it up for us. And you're going to keep it simplified and put x plus 6. And that is point slope, folks. Don't do more than you have to. That's it. Keep it simple. And that's what point slope is, keeping it simple. You need an ordered pair and a slope to put it in generically into the point slope formula. One more time to the right of this one, slope of -1/4, ordered pair of 20, -1. So I'm going to shortcut this one without showing all the steps because I know that a y minus -1 will just give me an addition of 1. And then the slope on the opposite side, -1/4 times the quantity, x minus 20. Okay. If you tend to make careless errors, then you're going to want to put in the minus negatives as I had done in the second box and in the third box, and then simplify it from there. It's completely up to you, just no careless errors, okay? All right, I'm going to flip my page. That was scenario number 1, format kind of number 1. In format number 2, take a look. We are going to still rewriting the equation of lines in point slope form, but if you notice, I did not give you the slope in any of these. I actually only gave you 2 ordered pairs. And as known in the past, we can always find the slope of a line as long as we know 2 ordered pairs. We're going to use our slope formula to begin. So I'm going to do my y sub 2 minus my y sub 1 over my x sub 2 minus my x sub 1. So I'm literally just plugging and chugging to find the actual value for the slope. I've got 15 over a negative 10, which simplifies to a negative 3/2 as my slope. Now that I have my slope, guess what? I can write an equation in point slope form. I have two ordered pairs, so I could write out two equations, but I really just need one. But for the sake of seeing the notes, I'm going to do both of them, but you only have to give me one. So here I go. I'm going to use the first ordered pair with the given slope to put it in point slope form. Y minus a negative 5 is equal to the slope that we just discovered of negative 3/2 times the quantity x minus 18. So that means when I simplify one more time, y plus 5 is equal to negative 3/2 times the quantity x minus 18. That is one answer that I will accept along with Mrs. Sauer and Mr. Eqns. Or, I'm going to put a big fat or in there, we could use the second ordered pair. So I'm going to do this one in red just to show you. I could actually do y minus 10 is equal to the slope of negative 3/2 times the quantity 8 x minus 8. Both equations are in point slope form, and both of them are valid to be given as an equation for the line in point slope form. Either one is acceptable. I'm going to do it again. Notice the two ordered pairs. No slope was given. We need to determine the slope. So I've got negative 18 minus 4 over negative 19 minus a negative 8. Simplify that. We're looking at negative 22 over negative 11, which will give me a slope of positive 2. So again, if I take the first ordered pair and write the equation of the line in point slope form, y is minus 4 on the left, slope of 2 times the quantity, x minus a negative 8. Again, simplify. A minus negative always simplifies to an addition. I'm going to put that or in there again. Again, you only have to write one, but for note purposes, I'm going to do both sets here. And the second one in red is going to be, I'm going to shortcut this one. Y minus a negative 18 is plus 18, slope of 2. And x minus a negative 19 becomes plus 19. And, well, I can't say any questions, but if you have any questions, make sure you write down any comments and questions you have on your guided notes. I'm going to flip my page. I'm going to look at the last two examples when I'm given two ordered pairs. I'm going to keep following the same format. Determine the slope in both scenarios. So I'm going to do them side by side. I'm going to set them up. So for the third example in the set, I'm looking at negative 2 minus 4 and negative 3 minus 5. And when I simplify that, I've originally come out with negative 6 over negative 8, but only simplified formats are allowed. I have a slope of 3/4. Using the first ordered pair, my point slope, y minus 4, equals 3/4 times the quantity, x minus 5. I'm going to put my or in there. In red is my second equation using the second ordered pair, y plus 2, I don't need that, y plus 2 is equal to the slope of 3/4 times the quantity x plus 3. And the last one in that set, hopefully these are getting easier for you to do. Negative 1 minus 9 in the numerator, 4 minus 6 in the denominator, leaving you with negative 10 over negative 2, which is positive 5. Using the first ordered pair with the 6 and the 9, y minus 9 is equal to the slope of 5 times the quantity x minus 6. There's my first point slope equation. And my second point slope equation with the second ordered pair, I'm looking at y plus 1 is equal to 5 times the quantity x minus 4. So make sure you leave any questions on your paper if you have found that this was difficult to do. There is a third scenario that we want you to take a look at in your notes, and that would be to look at the third scenario where the point slope has already been given to you. And so the convenience of having the point slope already done, we can easily rewrite these equations into the slope-intercept format. And remember what your slope-intercept format looks like. It is the y equals, I'm going to put this in blue, mx plus b. So if we put this in the format of y equals mx plus b, you are literally solving for y. So in order to solve for y, always first step, eliminate any of your grouping symbols by distributing. So y minus 3, we're going to distribute, get rid of the 2 on the outside there, 2x minus 16. And then get rid of the 3 by adding 3 to both sides. And now we can officially say that y is by itself on the left with 2x minus 13 on the right, and it is now in the format of your slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And as a side note, if I have the point slope format already, you can actually identify the point that's hiding in there and then the slope that's also hiding in there. The slope that's hiding in there is the value of 2. And then if you look for the point that was hiding in there, the x value will be positive 8, and the y value that was hiding in there is actually 3. So I actually, if anybody had given me the point and the slope, this would be your point slope format, and then we can take any point slope format into a slope-intercept format. Just a different way of looking at things. Okay, so again, out on the side, I'm just going to determine my point. Just out of curiosity, we're looking at a point of 8 for the x value, and then the 14 here is actually a negative 14 that was plugged in. The slope that was written in was 1/2. So this was kind of on a side just to look at, oh, that's what the point was. Oh, I remember. Okay, I get this now. So same idea. Our goal is still to put it in slope-intercept format. So we're going to get rid of the 1/2 by distribution. So I've got 1/2 x minus the 4. Get rid of your 14 by subtraction. So y equals 1/2 x minus 18. Slope-intercept format, starting at the point slope form. 2 more practices, and then you'll be trying these on your own. All right, so again, out on the side, the slope and the point that's hiding in there, the point should be a negative 4 hiding in there for the x, and a positive 9 as the ordered pair, negative 4 comma 9. The slope of negative 3/2 was thrown in there as well. All right, we want slope-intercept form. Nothing's changed. All we're doing is getting y by itself. Y minus 9 equals 3/2 x, and that would be, if I distribute negative 3/2 times 4, that's going to give me a negative 6. So I'm going to add the 9 to isolate the y. So negative 3/2 x plus 3 would be the correct format for slope-intercept. Slope-intercept. And one more into our guided notes. The point, the original ordered pair hiding in there should be negative 9 comma -7, and your slope of 3/4. And let's go ahead and distribute to get the y by itself, 3/4 x. If I multiply 3/4 by 9, I'm looking at 27/4. Get rid of the 7, y equals 3/4 x. And if I do my calculations correctly, 27/4 subtract off 28/4 will give me a difference of -1/4. So my slope-intercept is y equals 3/4 x minus 4. So we're looking at 3 formats for your guided notes today. You've got 5 U tries at the bottom, where the first scenario is giving you an actual point and a slope, and you're just going to rewrite it in point slope form. Keep it simple. Number 2 was your second scenario, where the slope was not given and you have to determine the slope, and then use one of the original ordered pairs, finish it in point slope form. So there's 2 possible equations, I only need 1. You're going to do one more extra practice for number 3 in point slope form, given 2 ordered pairs. And then number 4, if you could please identify for number 4 the original ordered pair, and then the slope, and then rewrite in the format of slope-intercept. So that will be your guided notes. And do you know what we call a number that can't keep still? Well, that would be a Roman numeral. And all right, see y'all later.